Okay. Close the
Not on your
nominations.
life.
Okay, all in favor of Tom Cornwell as president, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna select a vice president.
I nominate Bob Lauer.
I second.
Second. Any other nominations for vice president? So nominations are closed, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so that's unanimous also. Let's run through the rest of these. Our
Paper.
regular meeting night, which, you know, will change if we need it to, but will be the second Monday
Second Monday.
of the month at 7:30, excuse me. Publication is through the
Can't see her.
Chester Tribune. So, and then I guess we can list these all out. We need to appoint a member to the BZA, and that is from this body. Just to review, there's two members of the Plan Commission on the BZA. One is appointed by the executive of the town, and the other one is appointed by the BZA. Or by the Plan Commission for the BZA. The persons that are on the Plan Commission that would serve on the BZA cannot be involved in any other town position other than their position on the Plan Commission. The current person that is appointed by the town is Jane Dickey, by the executive of the town.
That's right.
And I was serving as the appointment from the Plan Commissioner, and that ended at the end of last year. So that spot is open, so we need to appoint a BZA representative.
I nominate Tom Cornwell to be the Plan Commission representative to the BZA.
Further nominations? Let's let vote on it, then all in favor say aye.
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 And I think it would be appropriate to appoint an alternative BZA member. We're allowed to do that, and that would then allow the BZA to function in the absence, I guess it would be in my absence, without a Plan Commission meeting to appoint somebody to take my place. And I think at this point, there's only really one eligible person to be in that, and that would be Dave Rurick. So I would nominate Dave Rurick to be the alternate.
I second that.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I should explain that Jane, as representative to the BZA, has indicated that she would like to step down from that position, so that we've got kind of a full, we're filling up the slots here, so that's why Dave would probably be the only eligible person as such. Is that all that we have on that? Well, yeah, let's go to the minutes. We have minutes from the meeting on December 14th, which was a fairly short meeting that we looked at adopting procedural rules. Did everybody have any questions or changes to those minutes?
The only comment I had is, they were adopted. I don't think that they're an edit to the town code per se. They become the rules and procedures of the Plan Commission, but I don't think that's technically part of the town
Okay.
code. Okay.
Let's take that out then. So that would read that they just were presented, that they were adopted, period.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So our purpose of meeting tonight is to look at some plans for remodeling and addition to 60 East Road. And I think that is the Wilkins residence, and here we have Paul Wilkins, and we have Fred Bansberger, who's the architect. Can you slide that chair out of the way?
Yep.
Hi, Fred. Show us what's happening.
Lost him on his gravel, that goes away.
I've got
This one's
another
easier.
side, it's largely the same, but hopefully
Okay.
answers a few.
That one got maybe a little easier to see what walls are coming out.
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
The general idea, and I think everybody's basically familiar, is that we talked about the chimney issue last time, so we're remodeling the main floor to include a chimney all the way through, so that would satisfy the setback issues. We're also gonna be extending an addition to the back of the house, about 10 feet, with a new stairway and elevator. And then on the front, we'd like to remove another stairway on the deck, which is over, extending into the side yard setback on the north side of the house, and then add a new dormer in the front. So I can briefly walk through those issues. The existing site plan, there's a setback issue, you can just see underneath there, it's only a few inches again on that stair in the front. And we're proposing just to take that whole stair off in that corner. And then clarify
Are
this
you reducing,
issue.
will you reduce this deck here?
Yeah, we're just gonna extend this line straight across,
Oh,
so
okay.
it'll be well within the setbacks then. We're also gonna be removing this tiered deck in the back, and then replacing that with a more simple, concrete
So
patio.
the concrete patio that's going in would be smaller than what that flat area is?
Quite a bit. Right now, it's terraced and steps up.
Hi, sorry I'm late, the traffic was really bad on East Road.
It's a large deck, most of it's not.
You missed the organizational part, but I'm probably fine with that, and this, we just started the business here, so I'm stay ahead with it.
I know, it's,
For advanced bigger. So the upper part of it is not very useful at all, and we'll be making a smaller one-level patio.
So just roughly, could you kind of sketch where that would be? Or just draw
Well,
a
you can
line?
see this darker area below there, and I
Yeah,
can.
so we see that on the next plan then, okay. I guess that
So
wasn't on the drawing.
the new plan,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
without the
okay,
stair here.
good.
We're also proposing to put a French drain around that with some stone that leads to a dry well. This is all fairly.
So that's gonna drain off to the back then,
Yes,
that's where it's gonna
yeah,
drain, okay.
yeah. So we don't have any runoff or anything coming down that slope really. And then the new addition would follow within the setbacks here, about 10.5 feet out and about 20 feet wide.
20, 30, 20?
20,
20,
yeah.
I saw another number. Yeah.
Well, the 30 is the patio width, which is
Ah,
about 35 feet
sure.
width.
Okay, so actually the addition is smaller than what we originally thought.
Unless I,
I think you said 10.5 by 35 at some point in what you gave us.
it's on an angle, so it's,
You know,
there are a couple different numbers. So it's about 21 across
Here.
this side, then there's a small bump.
so if you did.
You're right,
that,
I mean,
you know,
the back, the narrowest part is about 20, with the angles and that other little bump. It's
So is the elevator something that's being added, or is that already there?
Yes,
It's being added, yes.
I think that's part of the motivation for this.
Yeah.
That's the main goal, one of the main.
Well, there are a few, but that's the primary one, yeah. So the dark lines are the existing walls. I've also got existing and proposed plans on each unit.
So that'll be more of a family room that you walk into.
It'll be a large room, so even more so than when we came to
Yeah,
the
came to
board
it,
last
yeah.
time. So really this entire area with the new stair on the back, but it's a significant big family room with we're moving the front door over so it really enters into one room, where before I think it was a little chopped up on that level. So we'll,
And then you're taking some decks off the back too, right?
all of the decks
All
off.
of decks, the upper decks are off too, obviously,
Yes,
because it's
yeah,
inside the
and that's the one
structure.
that we wanna reduce. It's an odd layout and really not very useful on that upper part.
Mhm.
What's the age of the house?
I'm not sure, you
It
know?
was built, started in 81, completed in
Here you go.
80,
So that's
34
one of
years
the
old.
questions.
So relatively modern.
What's the history of the house?
I don't know, if you have any, is there
81,
any questions on members? I mean, we've had the plans for a week, so we've had, or more than a week, we've had plenty of time to look at them. And I went through, I thought the narrative that you gave was complete and answered a lot of the questions that we had.
Good.
Actually, I got a comment back from a member that's not here saying basically it was an attaboy, that's a great narrative. So,
And
So,
in addition, I would propose whoever, we're in the process of selecting a builder, that we just have like
yeah.
a pre-construction conference, that we can make sure everybody's on board.
I think, the concerns, and we've discussed them just in front of everyone here, but because that area is so tight behind the house,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be tight getting up there, and when you get back in your excavation, if you go back to your topographical map, when you're coming in to dig, when you're coming in here, but also when you're excavating on the side for this, you're going down to the bottom of the basement, basically. You're right on the side yard setback, which is only 10 feet from the lot next door, and we wanna make sure that that's protected, so things don't go down on to affect
Correct, yeah.
the neighbor to the
And that's
south.
one thing we talked about. So
Yeah.
we'll, again, as part of that meeting with our excavator, we'll verify the shoring
Yeah,
location.
if it makes sense to do some shoring along that side, to the south too, it would make sense to
I
protect
would
that.
like to, if it's in consultation with the shoring contractor, but
Yeah.
I'm anticipating, it won't be much that we would need there, probably maybe 6-foot sheet, so it's
Mhm.
not much of a cut there, but I would like to maintain.
Just because it's so short
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
to do anything that
Yeah.
would damage any existing vegetation, and then likewise,
Yeah.
any vegetation or any plantings that could go in along that to mask this off would be appreciated
Yeah.
on that
I
side.
think we're all in agreement.
You know, I think we are too, I think that's fine, and you answered the drainage question we had. The roof, around the chimney, the new chimney,
Yes.
is that protruding out further than the roof is now?
Not more than the chimney. I think. Well, it does, so it extends out, I think it's about 12 inches on the side there. The chimney itself is about 10 inches over the setback, so.
I guess what the concern would be, Fred, that if, we had, I think it was a foot and
Yeah.
4 inches or something, was it?
That we can certainly verify.
Okay.
Make sure we're
Okay,
within the-
well, I don't wanna be over with the overhang of the roof after we're doing all this to get that straightened out.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, is it a,
I'm not sure offhand, do you know what that is offhand?
there is something about
There is, the roof can project over,
I think it's more
but,
than the chimney, but I don't recall, but I'll.
because I think you're using that extension of the chimney, but we just wanna
Yes.
verify that.
Correct.
We can look it up here too, I should have looked it up before the meeting, but I.
So, as the newest newcomer to this, what are the issues, or what are the areas that require decision-making on part of this project?
Well, this was an interesting project because this house, as it stands right now, is not compliant with the side yard requirements. And it was built in non-compliance. It was built not where it was supposed to be built. So they had plans that this is where it was supposed to be built, and it was built in, not there. It was kind of like fast and loose by the contractor on it, and it was built in the wrong place. So it's not much in the wrong place, but it was somewhat in the wrong place. And one of the major things here, which we had talked about, was it the December meeting? I forget, or no, it was before that, it was September or something. We had talked about the proposal that the architect came up with to put a fireplace into this area where it was extended into the yard. And fireplaces are allowed, chimneys are allowed to be in the side yard up to a couple feet. And this would solve it, but, it had to be more than just stick a chimney there, it had to be something that made sense. And this really solved a lot of problems for it, because it got the elevator, they got bigger family room, it gave them a new stairway, which eliminates a stairway in the center of the house, so all this kind of came together. So there really isn't any issues, I don't think, beyond that at this, just making sure that this gets built where it's supposed to be, and we're not disturbing the grades, or we don't have the hillside coming down.
And does does it impact any negative sense, any of the adjacent homes?
Well, I've shown the plans to the people on both sides, made them available to them on both sides. And, you know, there were questions about drainage, there were questions about shoring up the hillside, but other than that, there were no objections to it.
So those people that are most directly impacted by this are supportive.
Right, and I think actually this might make it somewhat more attractive to the impacted neighbor on the south.
I hope so.
I hope so too, yeah.
Sensitivity to the south neighbor.
So you can-
Sensitivity to the south neighbor
Well,
because of the history.
yeah, I do think that it's, you know, you want to accommodate the owner, and obviously, there's the misfortune of house being built in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
But I do think we have to take into consideration the impact on the neighbors. If the neighbors are fine with it, do you see any other obstacles?
no, I think we're,
Do you have any
1
other
foot
comments?
huh?
on the eaves,
Yeah.
1 foot.
1 foot, 1 foot beyond into the side yard?
1 foot into any required yard.
So how does that work when it's,
Well, you're gonna have to stop at the chimney with the
Okay.
roof, I think is what you're gonna have to do.
that's fine. So we'll make the chimney extend through and it'll
Yeah.
read fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
And we can go ahead and act on this tonight, but you can give us a vision showing.
Absolutely,
showing what
sure.
we're looking at. It just.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
glanced at it, actually, it wasn't just me too, Dave Ray mentioned that,
Yeah.
he looked at it, so our absent member is contributing to the
Good.
result here. Well, let's go through and do some findings then on this. We've got the information on the plans here. Fred, why don't you stay here and help us with this, because you've got them on the plans here. The lot supports a house of 3,290.6 square feet, and with this addition, you're going to be at, what, is it that 2,486?
Correct.
That includes the addition on there,
Yes,
okay. So we are roughly 800 square feet within the bulk requirement, there's plenty of room there. The side yards, this affects the side yard to the south, which is a 10-foot side yard, and this is sitting right on that side yard.
a few inches, but yeah.
A few
Yeah, I
inches
do
off
know
the
the
side
exact-
yard, so that's a crucial measurement
Yes,
in construction. The height of the structure is the same as what it is right now, it's 27, what was it?
27'9".
27'9", so it's within the 30 feet. There is no additional bedrooms, so the county informs us that the septic system that we have is, we don't need any additional permit from them because we're not adding any bedrooms.
Not quite.
Let's see, the front yard's not affected, the rear yard is affected, it goes into the rear yard, and it's well, I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's well,
35 feet, is that,
well, 35's here, and it's well within the 35, so it's
Right.
well within the 35. And I think notably, this is correcting a couple of different problems. One is that a non-conforming stairway is being removed, which is taken care of on the north side of the house. And as part of this plan, I think we should note that as part of this plan, a new fireplace is being installed, and that new fireplace brings the home into compliance and allows this addition to take place. So that's an integral part of the addition. Parking's not impacted. Is there anything else that we should have? You know, I'm
Any
thinking-
utilities being added?
I don't know, I think the utilities are buried at this point. Or
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it then. So if those findings are okay, we're able to vote on the findings. Motion to approve the findings, please?
Well, just for the record, the homeowner is my brother-in-law's sister, so I'll step aside for the
I
vote.
move we accept the finding.
Second?
All in favor of approving the findings?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, approve of the findings. And then, based on those findings, could I have a motion to issue a site improvement permit on this?
So moved.
Second on that? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's all four voting members are for that, then. Okay, so it takes care of it.
Thank you.
Over there. Thank you. And you will get a revised
Yeah, I'll send it.
drawing on that. Okay. Can we have that one in lieu of one of these or something?
Yeah,
Because it does
absolutely.
show that,
That is a little bit, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
And I think it's a great improvement what you're planning.
I think
Just to
so
share
too, I
that
think
with you.
it'll really improve.
I think the front elevation is going to be dramatically more attractive than what you have now. It's great,
Creativity.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all that's on the agenda, and I was looking at our rules of, the regulations of meetings, and which says we will not discuss anything that's not on the agenda. So what I would suggest that we do is adjourn the meeting, and if any of the members of the planning commission are able to stay around a little longer, if they would please, if there's any comments from the floor, we'd be happy to talk to people from the floor after the meeting is such. Does that make sense?
You have time for one question about that other project that I
Sure,
mentioned.
sure.
It's more just a process of demolition permit.
Let's do that after we adjourn,
Okay.
and we'll talk about it, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think it's not on the agenda, so
Okay.
we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Thank you. Okay, you're on, Fred.
So
And if anybody has to leave, you're welcome to leave, okay?
I can show you a site plan of what they're interested in doing. But mostly it's about the process for getting a demolition permit. And I know the last time I got one, that was a relatively new permit. And is it anything we need specific approval for, or how is that?
I think Rich is gonna know better than I do on that.
What property?
what's this for?
This is 21 Crest. And, we'll probably.
I'll take the carport down right now,
Yeah,
that's right?
so we'd like to come to the town. On my site plan. But yes, essentially we'd like to take the carport down, do some.
Oh, it's next door to the place we bought.
In preparation for a new garage and remodeling.
Whose house?
of the
Whose house?
existing-
Smith's old house, Robert
It was
Smith.
the
Oh,
Smith brothers.
okay.
Just started.
Is it part of the construction plan, the remodel plan? Because I mean, if you're taking
Well,
something
we'd like to
down.
phase it, we're not quite ready to get the whole permit right now.
Yeah, then
And
you need that plat for it, demo.
it may help with the timing to get demo started within, say, the next few weeks to a month.
Yeah, because if it was part of the reconstruction, then you wouldn't need the
Right.
demo
Yeah.
permit. But I think he would come to you for,
He'd go to Jan.
to Jan for the demolition.
For the demo
permit.
permit.
Okay.
Okay,
And I can
Jan's clerk
email you-
treasurer.
okay,
I think she's clerk treasurer.
okay,
I don't know the permit very well, just because we don't issue that many of them.
right,
Just fill it out, submit the payment,
okay, so it's pretty simple.
it's pretty simple, yeah.
So
That's all.
there's excuse me for this.
Yeah. Sure,
So a project that's gonna be ongoing at that site,
yes.
and it involves interior remodeling.
Mhm.
And now, in addition, it involves taking down a carport and creating a garage.
Yes,
Okay. And is the remodeling thing far enough advanced to have submitted for that?
I don't know if any of it's really quite there, we're close to being able to submit, but.
So I would just say that my only concern is that you want a project to start and finish. You don't want a project to start and then get stopped for a year, and just be.
Well, I mean, I can tell you our intended time frame is to begin the main project in May. I just don't have the drawings complete for that. It's also, there are a lot of unknowns in the house, and we'd like to pull some walls out and find out a little bit more about.
I
what's in there
think
and
that
help
one
with
element of the
budgeting.
demo permit is to
Yeah.
make sure that there isn't anything that needs
Yeah.
particular protection when it's taken down. If there's asbestos or there's
Utilities.
any problems like that. So, I mean, that is part of
Yes.
the demolition. I was kind of quick to say on a carport, I don't think there's gonna be asbestos in the
Well, on the
carport,
interior
but
part.
there
we
could
can
be an
verify.
interior,
Yeah, big carport is very, it's not much to it right now.
So Tom, is there any merit to my concern about wanting the project to be approved and completed in one kind of?
Well, we were just looking at something tonight that we saw that it was started in 11 and it's still going on. So we have some really lengthy construction projects. And part of that is a function of some of the larger complex homes that are being built, that some of these take, you can't build them in a year, it takes longer to build them. But we obviously can build it starting in 2011, you should have it done by now. And, no, I think that's a good point. I think, you know, the permits have life, they have a term that they're good for, and at that point, you've gotta come in and renew your permit and come in and do that. But that's not a lot of grasp on that, and it is ongoing construction and ongoing and ongoing and ongoing is disruptive to the neighborhood.
Do you have people renew their permits?
We have, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in Beverly Shores, it's, I think, a year and a half maybe for the initial permit, then you can get a 3-month extension, and then you have to get the whole permit and pay for it again
Yeah, I don't think
after
we're
2
quite
years.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the whole-
But I do think that the concept is sound,
Yeah,
that you'd like to say, if you're gonna start this, can you commit to, in all likelihood, being done in 18 months and get the project done?
Or repay for your permit, so all your work is not for,
you know, I think, you know, some of these larger houses, I can kind of see where
it's a challenge.
it's a challenge to get it done that fast, especially when they're real custom. But this, I mean, if you came in to take down the carport, you know, there's
There's
no
probably
problem in
not
taking
doable.
down the carport,
Yeah.
that's just, it's a
Okay.
carport.
Yeah.
And if you probably don't know the carport, but it's not a very substantial structure, I'm acquainted with the
Yeah.
carport, it's just
Is
4
it,
posts and a roof.
is it changing the footprint, or is it all interior work?
We will change the footprint, so we're gonna add a new garage that's attached with a new entry in between the two.
I see.
So,
So there is a change in the footprint.
mhm.
Yeah. But I think that's not, to take that down is really not this body's decision. That
That's all I
comes
wanted to
through-
find out.
Yeah, so
If there was
that,
another
you would
meeting
go
or-
through
oh,
that.
So that's pretty.
And then, you know, when you have plans for what you're gonna put in there, do it.
Yeah, within a month, I'll have something, but will you be meeting next month or?
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see what we have on the agenda.
Yeah,
But I don't think just not having a carport doesn't really trigger anything, you know, they're required to have a certain amount of parking,
right.
and that doesn't go away, and by taking that carport down doesn't do anything to invalidate the balance of the structure.
Occupancy, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's fine, but
Good. Okay, thanks.
Okay, anybody else have things for us?
Yeah.
Want to talk about?
Good evening. My name is Bill McNaughton. My mother-in-law, Patricia Krug, who resides or owns the property at 6 Shore Drive. I know I've spoken with many of you in previous conversations after our tragic loss of the house in July. We're here tonight just to hand deliver the petition for a variance on the property. I wanted to just, do this in person. I know, obviously, the town of Dune Acres is working to get the BZA members up to speed, and obviously this is a petition to have a hearing in front of them on our condition and some of the variances that we may need. So, obviously, I don't know if there's any questions or discussion tonight. We were just here to deliver the
I
letter
think
of
that's
petition.
fine, just, there really wouldn't be any discussion by this group with regards to variance, it'd be
Right.
inappropriate for them to do that.
I understand. So we just wanted to make sure we got this to you guys, and
You could, and I was, shared this with you, because I know you're interested in moving quicker rather than slower on this. You could run both processes somewhat in parallel, that you could be moving through with plans through the plan commission while the variance is going through. The risk that you have in doing that is that, the result of the plan commission is fairly obvious because it doesn't have the ability to grant you a variance.
Correct.
You have to go, the BZA has to do it. But, so the plan commission will get to the point, and as we did findings tonight, I say we would have findings that would be appropriate in every area. We'd have one area that the findings would be that you're out of compliance. And then that would be taken over by your parallel work with the BZA. The risk of that falls on you is there's a lot of drawings and work that has to be done to present that to the plan commission, and you may not want to put those funds at risk if you don't have a variance in place.
And I appreciate you, thinking about the effort of time. It is obviously a concern of ours, more to Pat's, being that this is her resident that
You know,
is gone and she's been displaced. So I think the biggest hurdle there, like you mentioned, is just the cost of funds to produce plans with something that is, it's a pretty significant variance that is gonna be asked for to try to have the same like quality and kind home that we had before. To go forth and design it, present it, probably doesn't make much sense till we have maybe an initial meeting with the BZA and get an understanding of where, the BZA stands on the matter.
sure.
But
I
I
think
do
that's fine,
appreciate you.
we're right on board
Yeah,
then, Bill,
and I-
thank you.
Our goal obviously is to be as efficient as
And
possible.
we are working with as much haste as we can work, I mean, really, this is the.
Who sits on the BZA?
BZA is, well, we just got one appointment tonight, which I was appointed to it by this body. So it's me, it's Jack Wayner, John Creighton, Bill Nixon, and there's another appointee that Rich makes, which currently is Jane Dickey, but Jane Dickey's asked to step aside, and Rich has to make an appointment for that last person out of here, which, the way we've got it structured, there's only really one person you can appoint, which is Bob.
Because it has to be,
It has
it's
to
an
be-
executive appointment of a plan commission member to the BZA.
So it has to be a
Can't
non,
be you or Pete or
Okay,
me.
have you selected Dave as an alternate?
yeah, because we selected Dave as an alternate, so. So Bob is the only one that's left, but
Hopefully.
he
Well,
knows
or-
it. He knows it. He knows
Mrs.
it.
Crew doesn't have to be her sister, does she?
Yeah.
Well, we'll
That's
figure
why we
it
have an
out.
alternate, in case your sister comes up.
And when, I'm not familiar with how the BZA functions. Does the BZA invite any input from anybody, or is it just a private meeting, or what?
No, it's a quasi judicial hearing. There's notice that's gone out, and there's some real formality to get the meeting established, and there's a process where, there's a period during the meeting where the public's invited to make comments on it, and some of the criteria that determines whether a variance would be granted deals with the impact on the community, so it's very appropriate that the public makes comments on it. So that, yeah, and then, does that answer your question, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this, you raised the important point, so I think we'll look forward to doing that. So when does the BZA happen? When will that happen?
Well, the BZA, when we get this request, then we will check with the members of the BZA, come up with a date that will work, that gives enough time to get the notices out, and we'll schedule a meeting.
Have you elected a chair?
We have not
person?
elected a chair, because we really will not elect a chair until we meet. You really can't elect a chair without a meeting. But as I told you the other day, if you want to give me the things, I'll
Yep.
make sure that they get circulated and get to who they have to go to.
And that's completely understandable, and my correspondence can still be through you, I
That's right.
understand.
You can send everything to me at this
Yep.
point, and I will circulate it. I think, I feel that we're far better organized than we were a week ago. We're moving along here.
Well, I appreciate it. and,
You know, and I think, as for the people here, the BZA meets very infrequently. Matter of fact, I don't think we know for sure when the last time we met was on Bakey's roof. We found out.
Not on the roof?
3
We
years
met-
ago.
I can see where you might think that, but we didn't view the roof, but Mr. Bakey had a variance for his green roof, that he has plants growing up on his roof, and that required a variance, so. And that was probably 3-4 years ago.
And the one before that was the Roberts, as I remember.
It might have been, I don't know, there might have been another one in between there, I don't recall. But anyway, Bakey's was the last one. So it's fairly infrequent, and as the result of that, there's a membership that needed a chance to catch up on what's going on.
So is there a required minimum notice period for the
Yes.
taxes? How long is that?
I'm not sure, it's published and mailed, and I think it's 10 days from the publish, but I'm not sure offhand if you count weekends into that or not, I double check it. So we're probably figuring, you know, that if you allow, if we're setting a meeting up, if we set a meeting up in about 3 weeks or so, we should be able to make sure that there's plenty of time. There's letters that have to, and I don't know where you, and we'll see when we go through this, where you are in your preparation for it.
Well,
But you'll need to send certified letters out to people and get the return back from them, and we'll go through that with you.
To all neighbors
Neighbors,
within,
yeah.
Within 300 feet.
within 300 feet.
Do you know offhand where, we did read through the ordinances, but there's not much information about the step-by-step in terms of letters going out and, you know, publications, is there a?
Yeah,
is
you
there
know,
a cheat sheet
give
on
me a
it?
call and I'll go through it.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay,
So, yeah, we will be ready to get that in whenever you need to.
yeah.
You know, are you gonna
Go
request
go through
plans?
with, you know, go through with me what you've looked at, and I'll fill in the blanks for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and just, or just if you wanna point me if there's a cheat sheet or
Yeah,
a section of that,
we'll
follow it to
we'll
the
go
T.
through. I almost called you today to go through a couple of things with that, so if you have a chance to call the next couple of days, we'll.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Do you think you'll need, does the BZA typically like to see some of the plans that have been developed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, as I explained to you, one of the factors is that when you grant a variance, you don't grant a variance. You grant the minimum variance necessary to solve the problem.
Mhm.
So you have to see the plans to know what the minimum variance is.
Understood. And we've outlined that in our letter as well, so you'll see most of that in the literature.
You know, because this is, and just throw it out, because it's a quasi judicial